Just setting up another camp spot here. I'm back at one of my more familiar places because I ran into another YouTuber. You may recognize his rig. Flew by us from Chupacabra Adventures, and we just met up for the first time and decided to camp together. Maybe do some a YouTube video together or something. We'll see. Got a little cloudy today and hazy, but it is hot. So it's actually muggy here. I think it's the first time it's been muggy here in Quartzsite since I've been here. So he's over there filming a video, I believe. Good morning, everyone. I'm just starting the day out here with some breakfast. Got my usual oatmeal with some blueberries, wild blueberries, and some strawberries. Did I add the strawberries? Guess I forgot the strawberries. Yeah, so today, I think what I'm gonna do is give you a tour of the van. Something I've been trying to do for quite a while now. This is my 2014 Chevy Express 2500 cargo van. It's a 4.8 liter V8 with rear wheel drive. My original intention was to have the van as stealthy as possible. I assumed that I was probably going to be staying in San Diego and parking on streets. So I got the van without the windows, the cargo van, and intended it to look more like a contractor's work van. So I installed this roof rack, and I used to have a step ladder up there. I thought it would make it look more like a work van, and I would use the step ladder to get up there. And that was why I put that wooden platform up there. That's a 1-inch piece of plywood, and I used to use it as a deck. When I was living at the beach, I would sit up there, and then I added solar panels. Up on the deck here, we have two Renogy 175 watt flexible solar panels, and I have them screwed down into the plywood, and I ran the cables down into the van through a hole I cut in the roof, right behind the Max Air vent fan, which I also installed during the original build. I've got all this space right here to sit or add more solar panels in the future. I went with the BF Goodrich KO2s, and I never did a lift, but it's got pretty high clearance. I may lift it someday if I feel a need. And just after I installed the roof rack, I purchased this stainless steel ladder, which I attached to the back there. And it used to be easy to get up and down to the roof, but now I've added this bag, which is combination trash or firewood bag. Makes it a little harder to get up on the ladder now, but if you saw my video on the Outfitter bike rack and swing arm, that's my latest addition. And I've got my bike, my e-bike here with a cover, and my license plate here since the bike was obstructing the license plate. And I have purchased a small little clip-on light, so in the rare times when I do drive at night, which I really never do, I can put a little light on here and illuminate it for legal purposes. And regarding the bike being locked, some of you are asking how I protect the bike from being stolen off the rack. The rack itself actually has that little blue thing there as a lock to keep the rack from being stolen off of the van. And here on the bike, I have a cable lock attached to the bike and then around the rack itself. And I also have another lock here. It's a super good heavy duty lock, which I can use. So that keeps the bike secure on the rack. And before I show you the inside, I just want to let you know, when I built this, it was during the first 6 months of COVID. And so I had a good, I had as much time as I wanted to build this, but I was itching to get on the road. I wanted to start this van life as soon as I could. So I kind of did I call it a quick and dirty build. It was very simple. I used very cheap materials, and I did things kind of fast, very basic. I went with simple and utilitarian. I wanted comfort, so I wasn't concerned with how pretty it was and how it was going to look to other people. I was only concerned with comfort for myself. When I bought the van, it had nothing in it. It was completely bare bones. So I was able to start from scratch. So the first thing I did was I started with insulation, of course, and I put the floor down. I have 1 inch of polyiso rigid foam on the floor. And then on top of that, I have a subflooring. It's about 1/4 of an inch. And then I put snap flooring on that, on top of that. That is the floor. Kind of dirty right now, sorry. So I have a full floor, and that goes all the way from the front of the van, right behind the seats, front seats, all the way to the back and side to side. So it won't move around anywhere. I didn't secure it down because it fit perfectly wall to wall, so it's never been able to move. And here we have the inside of the van. Let me show you what I've got here. I use the same 1 inch polyiso rigid foam. So the whole van is insulated, the complete ceiling and all of the walls and all of the floors with that same polyiso rigid insulation. And then I put on top of that this very cheap, thin paneling, wood paneling. And then after that, I cut a hole in the roof, which, as any of you that have done this before, is very scary to do. Because if you make a mistake, you don't want to screw that up. I did well. It all came out perfect. And I've got this Max Air fan that I've had there for 5 years. Never had a problem with it. I use it every day. And then after that, I installed these cabinets. I just built them from hand myself, kind of not perfect, but these open up, and as you can see, that's where I store all of my clothes. And they put it up high enough so that if I have to sleep going this way, I sleep the other way, but if I'm parked somewhere where it's tipped downward on the other end and I need to sleep with my head up here, there's plenty of room under there. And this is my bed. It's a full-size bed. And the reason why is because I had just purchased it when I was living in my sticks and bricks place before moving into the van. And it was an expensive 100% wool futon mattress, which of course I didn't want to throw away or get rid of. So, and I had built a, let's see if I can show you that. It's kind of a heavy mattress, but I had built this slatted platform for the bed when I was in my house. So it just barely fit in here. I think it's exactly at its widest point. The van is 6 feet wide. So I was able to stuff that in here. It was pretty hard. And the mattress, but it all fit perfectly. And because I needed more storage and I wanted kind of a backrest to lean up against, underneath here, that raised part you see, is a backpack filled with seasonal clothing, and on the other side over here under there is my inflatable kayak, which folds up into a bag. And I also have a very large floor pillow back there, which is filled with bedding and towels and linens, that kind of thing. And then I can take that and rest it up against here, and that gives me a lounge area when I want to watch TV at night. So very comfy, very, very comfy. Oh, and so when I put the platform for the bed in here, I had to cut the legs down a little bit because I wanted to make sure that there was enough headroom. So when I sit on the edge of the bed, which is what I do a lot when I'm cooking right here, it gives me just like an inch above my head, which is just perfect. And then over here we have the kitchen, which you've probably seen if you've seen me cook in here. And I've got underneath here, this was a lot of this stuff in here, almost all of it was stuff that I already had in my house. So I don't think I really bought much. I just moved it into here and built things around it. So this is where I keep, so this, well, first of all, let me show you this. So this was the cutting board I had in my house, and I built it so that I could pull it out like this. And that's where I do all my cooking and my prep and my eating. It's my table for anything I need a table for. And I can sit right here, and I've got a table in front of me. So when I pull that out, underneath, oh, sorry about the toilet paper. So inside here is an extra cutting board and all my kitchen supplies. And that propane hose comes down here from behind and goes down below here where I have a 1-gallon propane tank, fire extinguisher, a bin that holds all my cooking oils and some pots and pans, another bin that holds storage containers, and also up on top here I have my air fryer. And I really liked tin ceilings in the old Victorian homes, and so I purchased this real tin. It's not faux. They do sell faux plastic ones. These are real tin panels, and I figured since this was going to be my cooking area, I wanted to protect it from heat. And then over here we have my refrigerator. I believe it's a 65 quart. It's all aluminum outside, very nice product. Company is Iceco. And then before I purchased that, I was using a cooler. So this is kind of a Yeti knockoff. And after I bought the refrigerator, I realized this was so heavy duty. I wanted to keep it number one for emergencies in case the refrigerator goes out. I have a cooler I can use. And it doubles as a seat. And this is where I keep all my dry goods, all my food. So it's protected from any kind of, if a mouse was to get in here or anything like that, that's all secured. And it also keeps all those products cooler when it gets really hot in here. And right beside that and below the kitchen, I have my power. I have this was the first one I bought. It's a 1500 watt hour Blue-Yeti. And then I switched to EcoFlow. This is an 1800 watt hour EcoFlow. And then up here, the solar panel cables come through the ceiling. And I had already done the build when I installed this wiring, so I didn't want to tear the ceiling all out and put the wire behind it. It doesn't bother me. It hangs there. It's not a problem. And that comes down there, and I can plug in either of these power stations to the solar panels. I do have another smaller EcoFlow that sits on top of here. It's a 500 watt, more portable version, but it was on the blink, so I sent it back to EcoFlow. And even though it was out of warranty, it was 2.5 years old, they're sending me a brand new one. So pretty good company, EcoFlow. They didn't send me these for free. I purchased these on my own. And then between the cockpit and the living area, I installed these blackout insulated curtains. And right there, I have my coat closet and my backpacks hanging there. And this is, for now I have this here, but this hangs here. This is where I keep my fruit and produce, potatoes and things like that. And then I have my water right here. I've got another one up front. They're all 3 gallons. One is glass, the other 2 are plastic. And this is a USB electric pump. And then these are 2 cheap cabinets that I had in my bathroom of my house. So I brought those in here, screwed those into the floor so they don't move. And these were also kitchen bins baskets that I had. So here I've got my dishes, my silverware. Up here I have more kitchen supplies. Pots and pans under on this shelf here. And then I didn't have anywhere to put my toiletries. I didn't have a medicine cabinet, so I built this kind of crappy little box here, put a door on it with hinges and a magnetic hold so it doesn't move, and that's my medicine cabinet. And under the bed behind this curtain here is more storage. I have a microwave oven right here that I just pull out and I put it up here on top of the flat cooler to run it. I don't use it a lot. And then I have another sealed bin here, which is all my baking items. And then behind that, all behind that, are more bins that I will show you from the back, where I keep all my hardware and tools and extra camping equipment, things like that. Oh, and in this cabin here beside my bedside, and I keep my books there and things like that. And then more storage under here. And because this cabinet that I built here goes all the way to the back there, if I move this out of the way, I've got more storage under there. And then I bought these little plastic, I think they're actually shoe holders that you hang on a closet door. And I cut them apart and place them around, they're kind of like my junk drawer. This is where I throw all my stuff that I need to go through it and clean it out. A couple more of those here, another fire extinguisher there. I hang my hats here, I've got more hats here. Yeah, I'm a little bit of a hat freak. With a bald head, you have to protect it. Oh, and a couple other things I forgot to show you. Necessary item. This is a nice little handheld vacuum cleaner, because these vans get so dusty and dirty in here. You bring sand in, everything, as much as I try to keep it clean, but I vacuum every day with this. It's nice, small, and portable, and it's USB rechargeable. And then behind the driver's seat here, I have a foldable toilet, because I'm sure you're all wondering about that. I also have a pee bottle for the middle of the night when I don't want to get out of the van or it's too cold to get out of the van. And let's go outside and go around to the back. Underneath the bed is what most of us van lifers call the garage. I have an extra propane tank there, my kayak paddles, camping equipment, sunshade, etc. You get the picture. And again, on the back side of the kitchen cabinets, I put another one of those plastic shoe holders, and as you can see, I keep all kinds of stuff in there. It's really handy, and it utilizes a pretty much unused space. And then underneath there, I've got my leveling boards for my tires. And this is the new backup camera I just got. I haven't checked it out yet, but this is the monitor. As you can see, it comes off. It's got a suction cup there, and it plugs into the cigarette lighter. And this is the other half to the backup camera. This is the actual camera. This is a solar panel, so when you're not using it, it's collecting sun and recharging it. It can also be recharged by USB. And there's the camera right there, and it's held on by a huge, let's see if I can get it off, magnet. Yeah, it's very heavy, very well built, I think. And you'll see, so that's never going to come off. So that's going to be real beneficial for backing up, so that I don't forget that I have this bike rack on here and back into anything. And again, if I didn't say it before, I purchased that myself. And there we go, it's all plugged in and the backup camera is working. The other day when I was in town, I ran into a couple of subscribers. So I wanted to give a shout out to Muley and Gypsy Joe. It was very nice to meet you. Great people. We must have talked for about an hour. So thank you again for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.